What up, what up, what up, T Squad? I'm here with this week's All Tea, All Shade, Real Housewives of New Jersey, Season 14, Episode 9 review. So, in this week's episode, we begin with Margaret and Joe. They're waiting on his prostate cancer results. Danielle talks to her husband and she says that with the Jen situation, that she called her when she found out that they were basically trying to have Leah, the girl that did her hair, bring the girl Laura, who is Margaret's ex best friend, to her charity function. And she said she reached out to Jen and was like, have you lost your mind? Like, I don't want no parts of that. Like, leave me out of it. And she said she feels like Jen got mad at her when she wouldn't play dirty, and when she wouldn't play dirty, she didn't have use for her anymore and started to come for her. And I was like, now that makes sense. That 1000% makes sense. And from what Melissa's old nose said on Chrissy Ball's podcast this week, she said that Jen was also jealous of the friendship that Teresa was building with Danielle. She didn't like that. She didn't like that at all. And I was like, y'all are crazy. Y'all are middle-aged women fighting over friendships, trying to destroy people's livelihoods and stuff. And for what? Because y'all are miserable and crazy. Danielle's husband says that he's going to ask her dad to come to her relaunch of Boujie Kidz. She says that she doesn't want her father to continue to miss out on important, things that are going on in her life. And I was like, girl, yeah, because at the end of the day, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Like, your parents are literally on their last days. Like, girl, anything can happen and you not talking to your father for what? Over a gift? Like, girl, get it together or forget it forever. All right. Rachel. Oh, and by the way, in this episode, Danielle is planning, like I said, the relaunch for her Boujie Kidz line, and she's going to have a big party. And remember, I told y'all on last week's episode that behind the scenes, Jen Aiden got mad when Danielle was able to return to work before her, because after the altercation, they got suspended. So she got mad when Danielle got to return back to work before her, and that's because Danielle had this event. It was already on the books. So Rachel Fuda spends time with kids with arthritis. Remember, she has really bad arthritis, and she knows how it feels to have gone through that as a teenager and as a kid, and how it can leave you like an outcast almost, because you're always sick and you can't do things that other kids do. Melissa's cousin is getting married, and remember, Joe is going to officiate the wedding. Melissa's cousin's soon-to-be husband's family isn't going to come, however, to the wedding because of the fact that he is gay, and they don't agree with his, which is ridiculous to me that it is 2024 and people still feel this way, and that they will ostracize their children because of who they choose to lay down with and who they're attracted to. Like, just think about the foolishness of that. Like, that is just crazy to me. Like, you're gonna miss out on your son's one of the biggest days of his life because of that. Like, just think if the roles were reversed and we came into this world and we were supposed to date our same sex. Like, that was what was supposed to be the norm, and it would be unkosher for a man and a woman to be together. You know what I'm saying? Like, who made up these rules? You know what I'm saying? Like, let people live. Like, why does it bother you who I sleep in the bed with at night? Would you rather have a child that was out here effing everybody, like literally everybody, back to back to back to back to back to back, or have a child that likes the same sex? Like, grow up, people. Like, please grow up. After that, the wedding was beautiful. It was a great time. Joe did a wonderful job. Jen Aiden has Teresa and Fessler over to her house, and Jen says that she was shocked that Danielle hit her. And I was like, you was shocked because you used to dealing with people like Melissa, who you've tried to physically attack, who ain't never popped your ass. And finally you found somebody that was not about to play with you. What made you think you was going to be able to push that girl and she wasn't going to knock the shit out of you? Like, I don't think you were thinking in that moment, obviously. And then she lies and demonstrates how she pushed her and says that she pushed her like this. Girl, no, you didn't. You did not. Like, you pushed her with all of your might. And that's why you got popped. So Fessler points out that Jen got mad when Danielle called her saying she wanted no parts of the whole Laura situation. And I was like, okay, Fessler, now you doing your job. Now you stepping up to the plate, because Jen Aiden was looking at her like, why are you bringing that up? That was a conversation between me and you. Like, why are you driving that point home? Because that's the big part of this whole equation. It has nothing to do with this Leah girl and this Charity and all of that stuff. It's because of what I've been telling y'all. They played her. They had no more use for her, so they decided to get her before she could get them. Point blank and the period. After that, Teresa says that she's going to Danielle's relaunch event. And Jen is upset. She is visibly upset. She even says it in her confessional that she's hurt by this. And she says it to Teresa's face that after somebody hit her, she would not then go to that person's event, you know. And once again, Melissa Old Nose broke down this entire episode weeks ago. Verbatim everything that was going to happen, because Jen and Teresa had been telling her everything. And she said that Jen Aiden also told her personally that she was upset with Teresa, that Teresa continued to be friends with Danielle after the fact. She was like, I've done everything for this girl and she never has my back, this, that, and the third. Girl, these friendships ain't friendships, okay? They're literally alliances, very much so. So Marge, and in that scene, Teresa says, well, Danielle's never done anything to me. Like, at that point, Jen Aiden, like, if you don't see that you're being used, bro, because you will literally not be friends with people because of her, but she don't give you the same grace. Like, you don't see the writings on the wall for you? No, you don't. So Marge calls the doctor because they have not gotten Joe's results back in yet. And he was like, well, if we haven't heard anything, that must be, you know, good news. And I was like, no, it's not. I found out my cancer diagnosis via my chart online before I got the phone call from my doctor. So, baby, yeah, no. So I'm happy that Marge called. They tell her the results over the phone, and they said that the results came back abnormal. And so she was like, well, let me speak to his doctor. The doctor gets on the phone and he was like, yeah, the results came back abnormal. It could be cancer. And if it is cancer, it's at its early stage, so we can treat it, we can target it. And that was much like my breast cancer. It was in its early stages. I caught it very, very early. And they want Joe to have an MRI. And as soon as the nurse told her that they wanted Joe to have an MRI, I knew it. I was like, they think that it's cancerous. This was before the doctor even confirmed that the test results came back abnormal. Anytime, for anybody out there, if you go and get a mammogram done and they say that they see something and that they want you to go get an MRI done, 9 times out of 10, they have seen something that could possibly be cancerous. You know, that's a big, you know, red flag right then and there. So Joe takes it well. You could tell on his face that he was scared, but he was trying to keep it together for Marge. Marge, you know, broke down and cried and just was hugging him and asking him how he feels. And she was like, I'm scared. And he was like, I know. She was like, but this ain't about me. This is about you. And I just feel so bad for Marge. I felt so bad for her. I was crying the whole time. It brought back all the memories of my own situation. I'm actually having my 3rd mammogram in August, right after my birthday, right before my birthday trip. And, you know, every year it's just like holding your breath and praying to God that another year has gone by where you're in remission. I still got 2 more years after this before I've completed my 5 years and can finally say like I'm cancer free, So, it's an ongoing thing, after the surgeries and all of that stuff. This is still something that I have to deal with every day. I take cancer medication every day. You know what I'm saying? Cannot miss a pill, Still got to go see my oncologist twice a year. Still got to get my mammogram. Still got to get bone density tests because the cancer medication that I take can cause osteoporosis. Like, it's so much that goes on with this. And for March to literally have just lost her ex-husband and now having to deal with possible prostate cancer with Joe, it's a lot. Like, this reality show stuff is minuscule when it comes to real life stuff. And just think that while she's going through all of this, you got people like Teresa and Jen that are, I want to take that B down and all of this type of stuff. Like, oh my God, like, people are disgusting. And I know that they don't know what's going on in her life, but period, just the fact that you even have that type of mindset is just pathetic and gross and just nasty and disgusting to me. So hopefully, I'm praying that his results come back negative and that he is okay. So Danielle has her party, and unfortunately her father was not able to come because he got sick. You could tell she was hurt by it, but she had no choice but to understand. She was like, at least it was a step towards the right direction. The party was fantabulous. I got to give it to Danielle. She put on a hell of a party for them little kids. I loved all the stations. I liked that she had a kid DJ there. She had people doing airbrush t-shirts and all types of stuff, ball pits. Like, it literally was a kid's fantasy. She did a wonderful job. Fessler arrives and says that Jen Aiden said that Danielle made money off of the charity, and Danielle denies this. And I actually prayed to God that he has mercy on her family when he puts down her karma. And here go Fessler talking about she didn't sleep with your husband. That's not the point. Ooh, I cannot stand that long face. That's not the point, ho. She's sitting up here lying on this girl, allegedly saying that she stole money from a charity, basically putting it out there to people that she's an elitist and that she's snobby and she's rude to people and mean and all of this type of stuff. Then she physically assaulted her. So what you mean it ain't like she slept with your husband? Shut up, Fessler. Please, you just got cool with this and you sitting up here taking up for her. Like, I can't stand her joker face looking at her. So Danielle was like, she shoved me aggressively. And Fessler was like, well, she tells a very different story about that as well. Well, as you saw, she was lying while you sitting up here trying to stick up for her. So Fessler was like, you know that you were a part of what happened, right? Duh! Like, what the fuck you mean? She knows she was a part. You do know that you were a part of it, right? She got hit. But that, like, what are you talking about? Like, basically, she was trying to say that she was equally as wrong. No, the she wasn't. That girl been poking and trying to start with her for the longest. Like, she is so on the wrong side of things, it's not even funny. So Dolores and Teresa and Gia arrive, and as soon as they arrive and come over, Rachel walks off. She was like, girl, I would rather talk to one of these kids than talk to her. So Teresa says to Danielle, I've never known Jen to be a liar. And she didn't say you stole from the charity. And Danielle looking at her like, she did say it. And basically you trying to say that I'm lying in? Like, what you trying to say? So Danielle calls Jen evil. And Teresa says, no, Margaret is evil. Like, she got such a hard on for this woman. And I'm like, y'all want to tell us, y'all want to make it where Teresa and Melissa don't bring each other up. Well, how about Teresa with Margaret? Like, let it the fuck go. God, do you want to sleep with her? Like, what is going on? Fessler says that By the way, Margaret and Melissa then arrive, and Fessler says that she and Danielle just got good with each other, and she thinks that she'd have made her mad again for sticking up for Jen. You think? And then you gonna have the nerve to do that at her event? Girl, I would have told her to go the fuck home. So Gia then asks Fessler, did John Fuda reference her? And Fessler was like, it wasn't what you think. Like, I swear he wasn't bad mouthing Gia. And Gia was just like, I just don't want people to bring up my name. Well, if you don't want people to bring up your name, then get the off of this show. You can't have it both ways. You want to play with the grown-ups, but then when somebody say something, then you want to go back to leave me out of it. Well, stay the fuck off of this show. I'm happy that they are doing the teen spinoff show with all of the kids. I'm going to talk about that in my behind the scenes tea. They're filming it right now. Currently it's Gia, it's Adriana, Kim's daughter. You got Riley, you got Brooks on there. Who else is on the show? And some other people along with Meredith, and it's called Making It in Manhattan. And they're filming it now, and it's based off the Housewives kids. Put her over there. That's wonderful for Gia. But she does not need to be on Housewives. She ain't a housewife, first of all. So, no. So, I wish I would have been there. Ooh, child, I wish I would have been there. So, Dolores even says that he was not talking bad about you. He was just, making a reference. And the reference was a good one. Fessler tells Melissa and Margaret and Rachel about what was just said. And Rachel was like, you're obsessed with me, and walks off. And she was like, what the fuck was that about? And they was like, girl, she done told you. Stop talking about her to these people. Like, she's told you this. Margaret's told you this. And you keep doing it. Like, in this case, thank you, I guess, for sticking up for me. But if I told you don't speak on my name, just don't do it. Let them talk what and say whatever you want to say about the girl. But just stay out of it at this point. Just stay out of it. So Fessler was like, Gia brought it up. And Melissa was like, why are you talking to a child? And I was like, thank you. Because one thing about it, Melissa do not involve them kids in nothing that got going on with Teresa and them. Her nor Joe. And the fact that Teresa always involving her kids in mess is just beyond me. And I agree. Like, no, Gia is not a kid. But she's still a kid, if you know what I mean. Like, why would you even be talking to this little girl about that? Why? So Fessler gets mad and gets upset. And Rachel was like, she tries to justify things. And Rachel was like, I'm leaving at this point because I just can't. And so she goes over to Danielle, was like, I'm so annoyed. She was like, Jen Fessler should just wear a shirt that says, I'm up Teresa and Jen Aiden on the back. And Danielle was like, well, I'm not going to argue with that. And they high five each other and the episode goes off. Girl, I'll be glad when this season ends because Jersey is giving me the ick like Basketball Wives. It's starting to get to that point because I don't like half of the people on this cast because they are just what's the word? Reprehensible? Is that a word? Am I making it up? Irrehensible? I can't remember. But anywho, they just get on my fucking nerves at the end of the day. I can't stand half of them. Like, it's just hard for me to watch this foolishness. Like, after this season, clean house. Clean house. Immediately. Please. I can't do another season of this. I just simply cannot. I'm going to give this week's episode a C-. It was kind of like a filler episode. Next week, we're going to get down and dirty, seems like. You guys let me know what y'all thought about this week's episode. Please make sure to thumbs up this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on your post notifications. I love you, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.